3, 2, 1, you're away.
Okay, so we are at Timaru's Boxing Day criterium, and we are racing in C grade. So you can see we have a fairly small field here in C grade because lots of people got scared by the weather. It was dumping rain all day before we showed up, and we have a really tight course here. So we're around the centre of town, around the library near the council building, and we've immediately assumed about third wheel. So my goal going into this is a learning experience. This is my first criterium. I haven't done many road races, so I'm just here to have fun and see how well I can do. But I'm immediately feeling like seem to be going a lot stronger and a lot faster than a lot of the other C grade guys. I'm sitting third wheel here. The guy in the Bora kit's pulling on the front. He's actually the dad of Shane Archibald. He's now the director sportif, but was a rider for Bora Hansgrohe, so hence the Bora kit and bike. And then we are behind the dude in the DC Cycles kit. His name's Jason. So Bora guys pulling on the front here, and we have this kind of steep climb into a tight right-hander, which leads us into this downhill towards the timing mat, and that is what our lap looks like. We are doing 20 minutes plus 2 laps with a 10-minute preem. Pretty sure it's a $50 preem. Winner gets $250, second gets $100, and third gets $50. Okay, so you can see we've kind of strung out the course a bit. Jason's taking a pull in the front, and I'm still sitting back here. I haven't really been invited forward, so I'm happy just to kind of sit back and pace out these corners. With the wet road, the white lines and the yellow lines are death. They're slippery. And the cobbles here. So we're being very careful where we're braking and how we're turning to basically avoid hitting those. So we come around the corner past the council building towards this roundabout and cross over the line here. And you'll notice how we slide next to the giveaway sign on the road. Very careful not to ride on it because that's very slippery. So Jason's pushing the pace a little bit here up into this next corner. Just quite a fast corner. Everyone's taking the racing line. But then I'm noticing here everyone seems to be flagging a little bit on the hill. Not so great climbers. And it's just a short punchy hill. And then we come out of lap 2 here, and we're sitting at about 3 minutes in. At this corner, I start to see Jason pulling ahead, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna push up past the guy in the Bora kit and bridge up to Jason and sit on his wheel. Because he seems to be dropping some of the field. So we bridge up. Bora guy's sitting on my wheel now, and I'm kind of pulling him up with us. Having a group of 3 in the lead is going to be more helpful than 2, so I'm okay to work with them for now. And now I'm back on Jason's wheel. I'm happy he's not getting away. He's not going to solo breakaway or anything stupid like that. And as you can see, as we come around the corner, Jason's kind of soft pedalling a little bit. He's kind of taking off the gas a bit. We've still got a whole group here. Pulled the Bora rider up with me, and I'm sitting on Jason's wheel still. I thought, okay, I'm feeling good, I'll take a pull on the front. Again, I'm not trying to ride super tactically here. I'm not worried about dropping people from my wheel, and you'll see I'm going to sit on the front for quite a while. I just, again, learning experience, not really going for a win, just trying to ride reasonably hard and see how it goes, just learning the bike handling, kind of getting the feel of how a crit works, because I'm not super confident here. But I'm feeling my legs are good, the pace is definitely manageable, and I'm not really needing to sit in the draft at the moment, so I take a hammer on the front, and I kind of pick up the pace a little bit here. Going into 6 minutes here, I know I've got a preem coming in about 3 laps, so I want to kind of spread out the field a bit. But I'm not too bothered, we'll see what happens. I do punch a little bit up this hill. I remember that In the previous laps, the Bora Rider and Jason have had some trouble. They've slowed down a bit, so I want to kind of put the pressure on them up here just to make them burn some matches a bit. And you notice I'm getting the puppy paws here, trying to streamline a little bit, coming down the hill. You can see here, we've already started to make a bit of a gap. Jason's sitting on my wheel, then we've got the Bora Rider, and there's a little bit of a gap to the rest of the main group. So, me sitting on the front, I'm already starting to build out that gap, and I'm just kind of riding at my pace. Not riding super tactically, letting people... Have a quick look behind me, and I put in a bit more of a punch through this corner. I'm trying to use my bike handling skills to my advantage to keep my pace, keep my speed, and try and drop some of the field. But Jason is also a mountain biker. He's another member of the mountain bike club, so I'm not going to drop him with anything like that. And you can see we've formed a fairly distinctive breakaway now, the three of us, and then there's a good gap to the rest of the field. I'm punching it a little bit more up this hill, just pushing a little bit harder, trying to build out that gap, and just kind of hold the lead and keep my pace and put the riders behind me under a little bit of pressure. But again, I'm not really trying very hard. I'm very happy to let them sit on my wheel. I'm basically just trying to see if I can ride them off my wheel, because that could be kind of cool. This corner here is fairly sketchy because we've got the pedestrian crossing there, so there's lots of white road lines. There's also a very fast line straight down through this roundabout here over some cobbles. And you can see because of my punch through the finish line, we've consolidated this breakaway. The group is nowhere to be seen behind us, and I kind of build on that a bit here. Taking the speed from that fast descent through the roundabout, I'm trying to hold that pace, and I keep pushing more and more. The Bora Rider's having some trouble hanging on here, and I'm definitely making an effort to up the speed, so we'll see how long he hangs on for. Okay, and you can see here as we come around the corner, still got a group of three of us, and there's a good like 4 second, 5 second, 6 second gap there for the rest of the group. We're now at 9:30, so I know the next lap is going to be the preem, so I'm pushing. I'm feeling good, so I'm like, okay, we can go for the preem here. So I pump it down this hill and into the next corner, trying to wear out the people sitting on my wheel as much as possible. Again, I could have rolled turns, but I've been sitting on the front quite happily for the last couple of laps. But I am just trying to ride them off the wheel. I'm still not used to road or crit tactics, so you can blame it kind of on my unfamiliarity, but it was somewhat deliberate effort. And you can see here, we're starting to drop the Bora Rider. Jason's still sitting pretty comfortably on my wheel, but we've built out a couple meter gap to him. He's probably struggling to sit in Jason's draft a bit. And we are coming around for the preem this next lap. So we've just rolled over 10 minutes, so next time we roll over the finish line, that's the preem. Come through the corner, pace is still quite high. Slow down a tiny bit here, but then I'm planning to punch it up that last climb, and you can see we have dropped the Bora Rider. There's a good 4 second gap there. He just couldn't hold on. Now we punch it up this hill, ready to go around the right-hander. Slow a tiny bit, hoping to get the last bit of energy in the legs, and then we drop it. Getting nice and low in aero, should have been in the drops. Cranking, but Jason takes it, he nips around me. I let him sit in my draft. I basically just let him out for that preem, so I'm not surprised at that. Happy with the effort I put out though, and now we kind of coast here for this next lap. You can see as we come around the corner here, there is no one in sight behind us. Climbing up, pushing up that hill, and then that sprint for the preem, we've lost a lot of people. So we are in a two-man breakaway. After I've just let out and sat on the front for about the last 5 minutes, I'm happy to let Jason sit here for a little bit and kind of have a slightly lower pace. He's moving slightly slower than I was when I was on the front, so I probably have a bit better legs than he does at the moment. But I was just letting him sit on the wheel, which is not super concerned about. One thing I did notice, these conditions, you get spat in the face from sitting on someone else's wheel. My glasses got absolutely covered, and you can kind of see the specks on the camera here. Jason kind of gets a little bit of a pace, a little bit of distance here, But again, he's going at a speed that is sustainable for me not in the draft. And because of the spit off his wheel, I'm not super focused on sitting on his wheel, which is fine. He does have a bit of a long gap here at the moment, so I decided to wheel him in a little bit, put down some power, and catch up with him as we come around this corner. Just kind of close that gap and use my handling skills to just, close that gap a little bit, sit slightly closer so I'm not too worried about him getting away. And then I'll just, as we come around this corner here and go up the climb, you see us coasting, and I'll just pedal up to him a little bit and sit level with him, pretty much. Making sure he knows I'm there and that he's not going anywhere. We're now moving to 15, 16 minutes in, and I thought, okay, I'll take a pull in the front. He's been up there for a couple minutes. I definitely surge a bit here, trying to take him by surprise a little bit, but not trying super hard. And he'll jump on my wheel here. So he's been going kind of slow. I'm like, okay, let's kick up the pace a little bit, maybe get him to blow some matches before we go into the last sprint. See, again, I'm pushing quite hard here, just taking advantage of the downhill and the nice tight corners to kind of maybe build a gap. But again, Jason's a mountain biker like me. His bike handling skills are pretty good. And we've dropped the rest of the roadie pack. You can see here that after that push down the hill, Jason is sitting very close on my wheel. He doesn't want me to go anywhere. He's very set on staying with me. He's not letting any distance build like I did in the last lap. So again, I can probably tell in hindsight that his legs probably aren't quite as good as mine, but I'm not using tactics. I'm not playing into that. I'm just sitting on the front and motoring, basically just evening out the race and giving him a bit of an advantage. Again, pushing a little bit up the hill. I try and do that every lap from now on, just to wear him out a little bit more, because it seems to cost him less than it cost me. Cost him more than it cost me, sorry. Again, using this downhill, building up some speed, trying to get kind of aero through here while still being in control of the bike. Moving my hand position just to get around this corner properly. There's a little bit of a back wheel skid there as I graze the white paint on the ground. But yeah, Jason is still sitting on my wheel. We've definitely picked up the pace. There's no way we're getting caught from behind, so the race is just between the two of us now. We're moving into 19 minutes, so we've got the last couple of laps coming up. The course we are racing on is actually the 2024 New Zealand Crit Nationals course. So Timaru has the privilege of hosting it, and the local cycling club who will help facilitate nationals and the supply marshals pegs out this course every year on Boxing Day to run a public crit. It also gives you a chance to ride the nationals course, and the people in the A and B grade who will be riding nationals, this is kind of a good test run for them. They get to test themselves against the local riders and also get a good feel for the course. But like I said, there's a bit less of a turnout in this year just because of the weather. Okay, we're coming into the last couple of laps here, so we're really pushing up this hill. Again, sitting on the front, I'm basically just pulling Jason along, but I'm riding hard. And we get into the drops. We hear the bell, 1 lap to go, and we push it around these corners. Now we're trying to ride him off the wheel. Any thought of not going for the win is gone. I know he's not going to take a pull on the front now with 1 lap to go, so I'm just riding as hard as I can through these corners. As we come around here, my back wheel fishtails slightly, I lose it, and you can see that falter in my pedaling, in my cadence. Again, now we're getting out of the drops. I don't have a very optimized drops position on that bike. It's a really old bike, and it's slightly too small for me, so it doesn't fit me very well. But hitting in the hoods here is quite comfortable for me, so we're back here, and I feel I can put down more power. We're trying really hard to ride Jason off the wheel now. We're not emptying the tank, but reasonably hard effort. Then we're coming up this last straight. I'm basically opening up half a sprint here. I like to try opening up a sprint earlier than most people would to try to ride people off the wheel, but you can see it's not made a difference. We basically come into this corner together, we coast a little bit, we both pick our lines, and we pop a sprint. I feel like I probably could have won this one, but I don't. Jason clips me by about 1 meter. I think if I'd done my positioning better and I had not basically just led Jason out for the whole race, I probably could have won. But like I said at the beginning, this crit wasn't about winning for me. It was about learning. So now I have a much better idea of how to race crits, how to race road. I have a much better idea of where I stack up in the local competition. I'm probably going to be going up to B grade for next year, which should be quite cool. I'll try to work my way up through that over the course of next year, along with trying some other road races. Racing the Nationals course was really cool. Doing it in the wet was also really nice because it was more technical and I found that more enjoyable. Next video coming up is probably I spent 15 hours riding New Zealand's longest cycle trail. That video is coming soon, so stay tuned in for that. As always, I'm Isaac, and I've something called a bit of a psychopath. Cheers.